Cities and Knights is a more complicated expansion for Catan. In this video, we're going to walk through the online tutorial to teach you how to play in just a few minutes here on Legendary Tactics. Now this expansion is a little more rules heavy, but we're going to walk you through as quickly as we can here. So in the base game, you just start with 2 settlements and 2 roads. In this expansion, you have a settlement and a city, so that's a little bit different. And you're going to find out that wool, grain, and ore are really much more important in cities and knights. So we're going to build our starting city right here, and that seems like a really good spot. There's lots of wool and ore there. And we're going to build our road here. It's a little bit crowded, but this is only the tutorial, so I'm not too worried. Now, Cities and Knights contains 3 different dice. There's an event die, a red die, and a white production die. So you roll all 3 dice in a turn here. And you can see that I rolled the Barbarian ship. So the Barbarian ship moves along this track 1 space closer to Catan. Here's a closer look at the track that the Barbarian ship moves along. When it reaches the end of the track, it attacks the island. So we need to build an army to defend Catan. So as usual, you add the results of the 2 production die, which is 4. So we're going to delegate some wool resources there. And there are 3 knight levels. So this is important. The basic knight is worth 1 strength point. The strong knight is 2 strength points. And the mighty knight is 3 strength points. The mighty knight can only be gotten with upgrades, which I'll get to in a bit. So we're going to build a knight, and it takes a wool and an ore to do so. And it will help against the barbarians as long as it's activated. And the activation here costs 1 wheat in order to activate. So you can see why this game is a little more resource heavy. So we're going to activate this knight and then end our turn. Now I'm not sure if you noticed the additional resources down here at the bottom. We have cloth, coins, and papers. And these are received as sort of supplementary resources when the rolls are made. So we got the coins because ore was rolled a couple times during our opponent's turn. And so this gives us the ability to buy city upgrades, which I'll get to in a sec. City improvements, I guess they're called. And you can see on the dice there, well, we got some more ore, which gave us another coin. But cities can be improved with respect to trade, politics, and science. And every city improvement costs commodities depending on the kind and level. So level 1 trade costs 1 cloth, level 2 politics costs 2 coins, etc. So you'll see down here, this board here is where the city improvements are tracked. And this gives you access to things called progress cards. They're a little bit too involved to get into in this tutorial. You'll have to kind of discover that for yourself. But just in general, the blue politics cards grant strategic advantages. Yellow trade progress cards give you trade advantages. Green science progress cards grant advantages regarding building actions and resource earnings. And so we have enough resources because we have 3 coins, so we can expand our city and politics twice. You can see the 1x, 2x, 3x, that sort of thing. So we're going to improve this city here, and that's great. And then we're going to improve it again because we're going to spend all 3 coins on doing that. Now we can end our turn. The red die that has popped up is means when the red die is a certain value, then we can benefit from the sort of extra bonuses, but I'll touch on that in a bit. Now, what happened really quick there was the Barbarian ship arrived and attacked us. Now, we didn't have enough active knights to defend. The strength of the barbarians is equal to the number of cities on the island, so it was strength 4. We only had 3 knights available to defend, and they each have 1 strength each. So as a result, the player that contributed the least amount of strength to the battle has a city degraded. which happened to Brown, which didn't provide any knights whatsoever. So they lost their city, and it degraded to a settlement as a result of the barbarian attack. They're going to re-roll or roll these dice here, and we have 4, 5, and the castle there. So anyway, since barbarians will always return, you want to reactivate your knights as soon as possible. We're going to do that here and spend a grain to activate a knight, and now we need to do something with all those resources. First of all, we're going to upgrade our settlement to a city, and we have 2 cities now, but only 1 knight to defend them, so we need to strengthen that knight. So we can now improve our regular basic knight up to a strong knight. Now this costs a wool and an ore, essentially building another knight. And now that knight is worth 2 strength. So that's going to be very helpful, not only in defending the island, but also in keeping us out of last place when it comes to providing strength to the battle against the barbarian. So now we're going to fight, and so we're going to roll the dice here, and we collect our resources, and this is down here now. You can see that we can improve our politics to 3, so that boosts our strength there. And in order to defend ourselves against the robber, we can build city walls, and every city wall increases the amount of cards you can keep before you lose them to the robber by 2. Okay, so that's a very valuable thing. So we're going to build some city walls here, and this is part of the rules overhead. There's a little more stuff to keep track of with all the upgrades. So we're going to place a city wall here, and go there, and we're going to build a road towards the other knight. And now the knight can be moved onto a weaker knight of an opponent to chase him away. However, we can only move our own knights on our own roads. Okay, so this is going to be important. So we're going to actually move this knight over to this space here and attack. And the active player can perform actions with all activated knights, but they're deactivated after performing that action. And what happened there was the chased knight had no road to retreat on. There was no other intersection it could go to, so it was removed. And in moving our knight, it was deactivated, so we'll spend the resources to reactivate the knight, another wheat, and that puts us back in good stead. So this can be a bit of a cutthroat game compared to the regular Catan that you might be used to. And we'll end our turn here. Now, just to reiterate on these extra resources, the cloth comes from the wool sheep. Obviously, the coin is coming from the ore, and paper is from the forest. So they're, again, just additional resources that are acquired through the game. So we're going to roll the dice now. And this is going to lead to another attack. Now, we managed to win because we had enough active knights. And because we won, the player with the largest active army gets a victory point card, Defender of Catan. And if more than one player got the largest army, they each receive a progress card instead. So this is worth a victory point. It's kind of like the longest road idea, that whoever had the largest active army at the time of the victory over the barbarians, they get that card. So that's a good thing. The barbarian returns to the beginning of the track, and we collect some resources. And we've got some money to spend on politics again. All right, so let's ramp up this city improvement here. And we now have the metropolis, which is essentially, it's a city improvement to so the first who is upgraded to level 4 gets a metropolis and 2 additional victory points. And there are a total of 3 metropolises, 1 for each kind of city improvement. As you can see on the upgrade tile, there's a number indicated for the red dice. If you roll that dice, then you get a progress card if you roll that number or less on the red die. So once a player gets to the third upgrade level, there's an additional benefit for the rest of the game. The guild house, or yellow, that allows a player to trade commodities at a 2-to-1 rate for the rest of the game. Getting to the third level with Fortress, or blue, they can promote strong knights to mighty knights. That can take a knight all the way up to 3 strength. And the aqueduct, the green, if they don't get any resources when rolling the dice, they get a resource of their choice. So that's kind of an interesting twist. City walls cost 2 brick, just for your reference, and they can only be built for cities. And it's important to note that you can only have a maximum of 2 knights per level. So those being basic, strong, and mighty, you can only have 2 of each of those. Now that city that becomes a metropolis counts for 4 victory points, 2 for the city, 2 for the metropolis, and you can only lose a metropolis if another player reaches the 5th upgrade level of the same area before you do. So you want to hang on to that title. So you might be wondering what that little castle is. It's actually a city gate on the die. That shows that a player is eligible for a progress card. These are very powerful things. To get them, there's 3 criteria. You must possess at least 1 city improvement. The event die must show the city gate in the same color as your city improvement, and the number on the red die must match the number shown on one of your city improvements. You'll understand when you see the cards, they're pretty powerful, and that's why they have such stringent requirements. Because they can potentially change the game in a big way. So from now on, we get to choose a city that's upgraded to a metropolis. It looks pretty cool. And with that, it's 2 extra victory points. And with that, I won the tutorial, which is essentially that. But this is obviously just going to be a brief overview of cities and knights. There are some nuances that you're going to want to learn, and that's something where you need to, for example, the progress cards. There's a little bit too much there for us to cover, but it does add a whole layer of depth to Settlers of Catan, which I think is really, really great. It's a very interesting expansion and something well worth checking out. I'll just give you a glance of the build costs here as well, just so you can get a reminder of that. We hope you got some value out of this little walkthrough to cities and knights for Settlers of Catan. If you did, please take a moment to like, comment, and/or subscribe down below. Thank you for watching. This is Legendary Tactics.